Yeah.
First secret triangle.
Your first,
Hey.
last good
Yeah,
save.
this is a secret. It's just us.
The Bermuda
Wow.
Triangle of room space.
Yeah, I'll have to. It's an island though, isn't it?
Hello there.
Oh, hello.
Hello. This is cool.
Hello, and
Hey, thanks for
welcome
coming.
Hello there.
to the Technical Backend
Hello,
Cameras Key. We're here to give our value away.
Value. Woo.
We can hear you, Ghoster.
I can hear you right here.
Check, check,
Oh, that's a
check.
cool camera.
It's the new AV 4K.
Ooh, AVR 4K. Looking good.
Blink, blink, blink. 4K.
Craigslist?
Oh,
Alt space list.
ignore me.
That's cool.
Craig's up there. He could tell us.
Oh.
Oh, hurt.
All right, technical back end. Already cracked a joke about that once. I could re-crack it. It's all good.
Whoa. Get the recrack.
Use your imaginations. Hey-oh.
How's that, gamer dad? Hi
Good night.
there. Oh, hello there.
Hello.
Hello.
Ooh.
Yay!
Woo. Schmidt.
Yay!
Shush.
Definitely the big thing in any of this stuff is definitely making sure you hit that record button in several different places. Step one, make sure.
All places, all places. Okay, I should be good now. All right, so why don't we go ahead and get started with my hands backwards? Because I know what I'm doing and I totally planned this like not even 10 minutes ago.
Who am
Schmidt's
I?
got the,
So,
Schmitty got the moonwalk
I
going
myself,
on
if
there.
you guys could actually move to the side of the panel real quick, Schmidt and Side Gamer Dad.
Oh,
So, I myself, I am known as
All right,
Gabe
off to the side.
here in Altspace. I'm also known as Ghoster over in VR chat. Big part of both communities. As such, you know, I'm a big gamer. I have, you know, over 200 games in my Steam library, easily over a couple 100,000 hours logged in through Steam. I've made many friends through different gaming sites. Been part of the Altspace community since September of last year, so I know exactly what this is all about, and I've seen it grow just like you guys have. Unfortunately, though, I did leave in February. I went to another application called VR Chat, another social application, but you can build custom avatars, custom worlds, and a bunch of really cool stuff. Came back late June, just as Altspace is closing. I heard the news, and I was like, I got to go see what it's like now, you know, see how much has changed. I came back, and it's still going, which is pretty awesome, you know, considering that it got bought by Microsoft. After that, or actually before I came back, though, I've started working with the Endgame Show. The Endgame Show is more of a discussion panel, kind of like the Hive you guys have here. It's all about, you know, the end of the world, how we're going to end, different technologies, different philosophical ideas. If you guys want to check it out, it's called the Endgame VR on YouTube. I unfortunately forgot to put a link for that, but it's we've got up to about 30 episodes. It's really crazy, some of the stuff we talk about. As well as I have also been working with the Hive Network, as we call it now. So I've been working with Vivian, getting her show up in VR chat. working here in alt space, getting some of the other shows such as Tabletop Gaming, Salone's Dumpster Fire, The Hive. I do all of the camera stuff for that.
Saloon? What's a saloon?
After that, well,
We'll go to the,
really,
we'll go to the saloon.
that's
after.
all I've got. So, who do I have with me here today? Why don't we get Schmidt Tech up here? Schmidt Tech is here from the Alt Space team. Actually, what is your technical
Schmitty.
name on that? What's your
Hey,
position in
everybody.
Alt Space?
Hello there.
I am part of the AltSpace VR community and events team.
So-
Taking a bow.
I'm working with him right now to get all
Part-time
this stuff
karaoke
set up.
singer?
I've got a bunch of shows, and I've been talking to him, getting all this stuff set up. He also does some camera work that I found out. So he is sometimes that wonderful camera bot you see at some events, which they haven't been at recently because of reasons. Alrighty.
2
And
words.
also
Camera
with
bot.
us here today, we have Sad Gamer Dad. He is a YouTuber.
Hey,
He works
heyo.
with the Hive Network
Hello, guys.
as well. So I understand, you do YouTube.
Yep.
What got you into
Weekly
the
show.
YouTube scene? Like, what game really wanted to make you become a YouTuber?
What got me into the what game? It was really VR. Not so a game, but the idea of stepping into the game. I go way back to the beginning of PC gaming, and I had like the first wave of VR. If you guys remember this, when VR was going to take off in the 90s, what happened? I actually made some stuff that never came
Wow.
out. So I bought that stuff like a guy who thought it was going to happen. It didn't happen, but I forgot about it, and then it resurged back in 2011. And I got back interested into it, and I had a lot of real life commitments to stay with the last 3 years, 4 years after that. And I finally said, okay, I'm going to get back into this again. And I got into it, and here I am about 7 months later. Woo! So
Woo
happy to
VR,
be
right?
here. I go way back. If anyone wants to talk old gaming history on computers, going back to the very first personal computers, I'm your guy. Woo! Happy to.
Alrighty, thank you.
Yep.
So, what we're going to talk about today,
Thank you.
we're going to talk about how are you recording? Are you recording desktop view? Are you going to be in real life? Are you going to be in VR? How are you going to be recording these episodes here? Next thing we're going to talk about is movement speeds and angles, the two most important parts of doing any kind of camera work is how quickly are you moving and how are you looking at the person who is talking or the game you are working with. And finally, but not least, are you talking? As the camera person, are you the one talking? And what kind of goes along with that? What certain styles should you use? So, first part, how are you recording? Are you going to be a static or dynamic cameraman? So right now, as you guys can see, I have a camera right here. And if I go ahead and pull up a YouTube URL,
Oh,
should work. Just go ahead and mute the screen. It should automatically be muted. So right now you can see that I am recording myself and I'm streaming this live. And so we'll slowly get this really bad mirroring effect as it just goes on and on and on out into infinity. And then if I just go ahead and grab my camera, go ahead and pan it around here, you'll see that that will change here in a second as well.
There's Smitty.
Good looking guy.
One second.
that's so cool.
Oh, wait, loading.
Oh, hello
Oh,
VRception.
So,
there.
um,
That's so cool.
yeah, it's crazy what we can do here. All right, so let's get back to the slideshow so we don't have any more VRception, infinite tunneling.
That's cool.
So right now, this is actually a static camera.
What's that? Oh, that
Basically,
is
static
cool.
cameras are more for if you have a show and you have a preset stage, such as this one. If Chad, Gamer Dad, and Schmidt would come up here with me and just, pretend like we're talking to a grand crowd about something really cool, and would
hey,
be
grand
facing out at
crowd.
you
This
guys.
is really cool. I really
with our-
appreciate
Look
the
over there.
staticness
No,
of the
look over
camera.
there. Now, bring it together.
So static cameramen are generally good for shows where you have a very defined space that you're recording and it's not very much
good.
movement. The other ones are dynamic
4K.
cameras. So if I go ahead and grab, oopsie, I didn't want to go that way. If I go ahead and grab this, I can go ahead and bring my camera out here. You won't be able to see it, but I will have a YouTube video up for this. And basically, I'm holding the camera like a selfie, like in real life. You know, taking from the camera's perspective at me, and I'm constantly moving. So now I gotta reset this up backwards, which is gonna be the fun part. Come on. And there we go. That's good enough. All right, so the different types of recording. Are you going to be doing a desktop recording, a VR recording, or a real-life recording? So there's some pros and cons I come up with, and I would love if Schmidt and GamerDad would be able to, you know, give their input on this. So desktop mode, easily the most stable. It is, you know, it's not going to judder up and down or move side to side, you know, with, you know, tracking issues or just normal human movement. It's the easiest to view because it's just like TV, basically. It's static. It stays in one spot. It pans properly. It doesn't really go too crazy. Like right now, I could be in VR. I'm leaning my head back and forth, and watching that on YouTube it's not going to make much sense. The only problems with it is though that it doesn't have very good fine speed control. It's going to be, you have a certain speed that you snap to. You have, you know, generally a single focus. That's the only thing you can look at. And it's difficult to get a good view because normally in games you're stuck at a certain player height. Whereas VR and real life, they start to get a little more complicated. They add a lot more dynamics to cameras.
Some of us are shrinking. Shrinking.
So such as, you know, is that really recording me? Shit. I think I messed something up. 1 second. I know exactly what I'm doing, and that's a lie. You should never believe me when I say that.
The cake is a lie.
Cake is that. Why am I echoing? Somebody's echoing me. Oh well. So where was I at? VR. So VR, very smooth transition. So I'm able to move my head very slowly. I'm able to control my movement speed. I'm able to rotate side to side. I'm able to really good angles and really good transitions between different areas. I've got a great view of the scene. I have a huge peripheral vision that I can see just from my VR headset, and it's, you know, 110, I think, or maybe even 90 degrees off of my head, whereas desktop normally it's about 60. Also, with VR comes great quality, because if you're going to play VR, you have to have good quality to make it look good. Problems, though, this is where real life and VR start to fail. It's very unstable. Stop muting me. So any little tiny movement that I make, any tiny little adjustment I make, any videos that I record off of that, you'll be able to see it. Any random rotations, so like this, my head is sideways now. I see it straight on, perfectly fine, but the video of me looking like this, not gonna look good. And VR videos, and even real life videos, they're a little more difficult to watch on YouTube, or Twitch, or any other video hosting site. And then last but not least, real life. Probably the easiest to do, but also the hardest to get good at. It's the most realistic because it is real. It is the highest quality because you can get hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment and have a wonderful, you know, show, high quality cameras tracking at 4K or even 8K if you wanted to, have amazing equipment, but there's a lot of video processing that goes along with it. And you can get equipment to help smooth it so that you don't have the issues of, you know, VR where you can't smooth it because there's tracking issues. You know, it gets better, but it can also have the worst stability if you're using simple devices such as phone cameras, you know, camcorders, digital cameras, anything like that. Any little movement, it's going to show up. And it also has one of the highest price per equipment. So whereas VR, you can play, or on a computer, you can play different games and do a whole bunch of things, cameras are specifically designed for one thing and one thing only: taking pictures and taking videos. You can't do anything else on them. So they have the highest price per usage. And I actually opened this up to Schmidt and Sad Gamer Dad. Which one would you, you think these are a good list? Which one do you like the most? Do you like doing desktop streams, VR streams, real life streams?
VR streams for me. All about VR. Like I said, that's what got me onto YouTube and in wanting to do all the social media that goes along with that, branding myself, Sad Gamer Dad. I had VR in mind. That's why it took me so long before I finally jumped in. I spent all of last year learning what to do, reaching out to folks that were already doing what I wanted to do, and doing my homework, basically. So it's all about VR for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as far as filming inside of AltSpace, as far as filming inside of AltSpace, there's quite a few different ways to do it. Like you say, I mean, you can't actually you could do real life where you're just like, having your friend record your screen of what you're doing in AltSpace too. So there's just a million different ways of thinking about how you want to do it. So, we have some other features as well that you have, like with your we call this the Jimmy Cam. So there's some features that you can have with that where you do get some smoothing with the VR recording. Basically, where you're able to these wild movements aren't going to be as bad for watching on YouTube and stuff like that. But typically the static shot just being really smooth with when you do pan watching people's actual VR gameplay, it's pretty tough. I mean, that's probably not the best way to share out what the experience is in VR. It's nice to maybe cut back to it a little bit. It's pretty interesting to see just those kind of micro movements if you're up really close to something, and just the small little head movements. But then that's not good when you're lying on your having a sandwich, lying on the couch watching this. That's pretty tough to do. Yeah.
And actually, speaking of that Jimmy camera you're talking about, so if you actually, I actually have the tips here for if you want avatar
Thanks,
smoothing.
Whoever Jimmy is.
Basically, what it does, if you're on desktop, so if you have a PC that's able to handle VR, so hands and everything, you're able to hit Control-Alt-M, and what that does is that actually makes it so that your view becomes really smooth. And that's what he was actually talking about. And the other one is this camera right here, and that is actually Control-Alt-N. And so what that allows me to do is it forces my audio from where I hear from this camera. I can still speak from where I'm at in my avatar, but it puts my desktop view of this game into the camera. That way it's static. I don't have to worry about what I'm doing in VR. It just works. So if you guys want to go ahead and give it a try now, it should work for them, right?
So I'm not 100% about this, but you might need to have a certain flag on your account. You might need to have the, what's the
Streamer?
flag called? Streamer flag. Yes. Yeah, exactly, Ghoster. So if anybody's trying this and it's not working, then if you want to reach out to me and let me know you want the streamer tag, then you can get that. So basically you're being able to have these cameras. I guess maybe we don't give it out too much because we just don't want 1,000 people running around with cameras and everybody else wondering what that is and having a chronic camera feedback loop, but that's how you can do that. So basically, whenever you're doing streaming, you're recording whatever's on your screen. So when Ghoster has this camera, so he's playing inside VR and looking at what he's looking at in his headset, but on his screen, it's whatever's showing from this. So, and he's recording from his screen. So if you he can grab this and then move this camera around, and then you're getting some movement on your screen, and then that's how you're able to record what you're doing. And then, if Ghoster just wanted to have the show by himself, then that's all he needs to do. He just has to have that camera there, and he can have the whole one-man show by himself, and just record his screen.
Alrighty. And then Claire, did you have a question?
Simple,
Possibly?
easy
Or were you just saying hi?
Yeah.
She
No,
had a
yeah.
hand raised.
I've got something called the Razer Cortex, and I've not quite figured how to use it out. I've only used it once, and it recorded like 20 seconds of a game that I was playing.
Okay, so
But
we'll actually
I
get to
wondered if-
getting softwares and stuff like that. We will do that in another episode. I plan on doing about a 5-part series of this, going over the different areas of getting streaming going. And that actually is going to be one of the, I think the next episode, if I remember right. That's going to be about different recording and streaming softwares. So I will
Yeah.
answer your question
Yeah,
then about
yeah.
that. But this one is all about camera work. So, moving the camera into a position that looks best
All about the cameras. All
yeah.
about looking good. I
So,
look good.
Yuki here, he has the camera as well. And if he looks on his desktop, he can, he'll see that from wherever his camera is where he's looking from.
Right.
Well, okay, so next up, the next and probably the most important
There's Channel
section,
Yuki on the scene.
Oh no, wait, it's Leah.
most important section of this is definitely movement and angles. So at any point in time, including static and
it's kinda
dynamic
rough.
cameras, you want to be able to move in a controlled fashion, and you want to have the right angle looking at somebody. So right now, my current camera is pointing upwards, so it's looking up. But if I go ahead and do this and move it upwards, now it can look straight on at the screen. Or if I push it even higher, I can look down at the screen and look down at whoever's on stage. I'll go into a little more detail about that here in just a second. Looks cool. So movement speeds. Generally, you want to have a very smooth movement speed, almost like driving. You know how when you're first starting to drive and it's very stuttery, you're hitting the accelerator too hard and then you're letting it go, so you fall back off, you're doing this very sharp wave. And then as you drive more and more, it starts to become more of a smooth line where you're, applying a little bit more gas now to, keep pace with whatever traffic's going on. Same thing with camera work. So I'm going to call out two different things on a graph here. I'm going to call out speed. So general speed. So if I'm doing this, that's basically what it's like. I'm basically snapping to a certain position. That's what this graph represents here. This is probably one of the worst camera styles you can possibly do. Simply because it's very sharp, it's very sudden, and I gotta get this camera back. It's very sharp, it's very sudden, and it's very quick. So you lose a lot of detail in the movement. It's not going to look good. It's going to be... it just generally doesn't look good. It's almost like the shake of iPhone cameras, where people record on the phone and they're really shaky. That's kind of what this video quality will look like. Better movement speeds. Sloped. So basically you either start off really fast and then you slow down, or no, you start slow and slowly speed up, but then you immediately stop. That's not bad. You're getting a lot better. Like I said, it's like driving. You got to make sure that, you accelerate smoothly and you decelerate smoothly. You don't want these sudden jagged edges where you immediately stop, for whatever reason. And so with that, the best movement speeds. So you notice that I have actually two graphs here, and I'll explain the second one over there on the right in just a second. But first one over here on the left, this is probably one of the better ones. Take it slowly, make a nice gentle curve, and then you go ahead and slow down. So something, basically, if I move this camera, slowly speed up, hits top speed, and then go ahead and slow down to a stop. That's the best way to do camera work. And then this one actually here, this is a kind of a flattened one. This one also works really well. So basically, you hit a top speed of, not your actual top speed in whatever game you're playing, but you hit kind of a median where you just keep that constant speed, and then you go ahead and decelerate slowly, but not too sharply. And so both of these are probably the best movement speeds, and you just kind of want to practice this. This is more of a feel per person. And does anybody have any questions so far about, what I've been going over? No? Okay.
I have a question about how long does it take to get a good feel for it, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I would probably say around 6 or 7 times doing it. It's at that point that in VR games where you have the 3D space to move around, or even in real life, it takes about 5 or 6 times to really get that feel of know what you're doing. And then after that, it's just, you're optimizing it better. You're starting to figure out who's talking, where they're talking from, how to smoothly transition from this point to this point. Same with desktop mode and in real life. You kind of start to learn the quirks of people talking and doing shows and events.
Thank you, sir.
And so now we get into the views. So I'm actually going to have you guys stand right there. And I'm going to go ahead and bring up my stream real quick.
Reframe.
Reframe, yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Rules of thirds.
Come on. I hate clicking that fast. And done.
I just like doing this.
So as you guys can see, they're going ahead and talking, and and it's going to be a little bit delayed because I am running this through YouTube. So right now, if you look on the screen, this is my camera view, and this is the straight on camera view. Basically, I'm looking straight at them. There is no elevation change from where they're at. As soon as that one starts moving, it stops moving. Next one I'm going to go over is the
Halloween
top.
zombie action.
So basically, I'm looking down at these guys now, and I'll go ahead and jump in frame and say hello. Just to kind of
Camera brains.
So as you can see, it looks different, but only slightly. And that can be all the difference on making a good show. So the next one, of course, is the lower angle, where you look up at people. So this one is good for
Beastie Boys.
Selfie.
So as soon as that updates, which it just did for me. So people are now looking down on the camera, looking like you're
Off the
out on
wall.
stage.
If you're playing the wall. What you want?
And of course, if you guys just go ahead and stay right there, then you've got, the top and side views. So basically, we're not looking straight on at somebody. You're kind of looking at them from an angle.
Do we pose? Like pose.
If you want
pose.
to. It would be best if you guys, saw what I'm seeing.
C3 pose.
So basically, if I take Sad Gamer Dad here, I'm looking at from the, bottom right. Now I'm looking at him from the middle, then I'm looking at him from the top right. And then, of course, I can do the same with Schmidt and do the left, Look at him from the top left, look at him from the side left, and then look at him from the bottom left. And it's all about figuring out which camera spots to use. And like I said, it's kind of a learning curve. You have to do this a couple times before you actually get a good feel of what kind of camera styles and camera angles you need to use. So let me go ahead and bring this back. And then go ahead and back this up to actually back to here. All right.
That was cool.
So that's about it for camera styles, and then we're going to go into the last and final part of this discussion. This actually went really fast, dang it.
Jay or Silent Bob?
Yes. Are you silent or are you a talking cameraman? Currently, right now, I'm a talking cameraman. So basically, I have my mic being recorded with the software I'm using, which I'll explain in the next part of this. But in most of the other events I do, I'm silent. I mute my mic, I don't talk, I try to eliminate all other sounds other than what's going on. So let's say, I don't think I can actually do that. Hey, Sed, can you unmute real quick? Uh-oh.
Yeah, sorry.
So, like, right now, if, let's say, Sad Gamer Dad and Schmidt Tech were having a conversation while I'm doing my show here, please continue, please have a conversation about something.
When you do that next
So
turn,
I want to eliminate
hopefully
as
we'll
much
be there.
outside sound as
That
possible,
would be
simply
great.
as,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe next time
I
he
should be
tweets
able
that they're showing
to
up, I'll be there too.
locally mute them. That way, I'm only getting what's on stage. Now I need to unmute you. Oh wait, did that actually mute you, like, full, like, room mute?
It actually muted me. Anyone else? No? It
Oh well,
got me.
well, that's a new feature. So this is talking is also going to play a big part in how you set up your camera style. So every person has their own camera style. I've worked with Schmidt-Tech, and I've told him how I do my camera style, and I've told him, basically, screw it, I can't teach you my camera style. You do your thing, and we'll just hope it's good.
You,
I've
Schmitty.
seen Sad Gamer Dad's YouTube videos, and basically I could say the same thing. I would do different camera angles like this, or that, or look differently, or maybe turn earlier or do some crazy effects. But I can't do that because that's my style, and that's not his style. And again, that all depends really on what you're going for, what the show is about, why you're recording, and the best ways to record. And I believe, whoopsie, now everything's going nuts. I didn't want it that. Go back. And actually, that was my last slide. I kind of breezed through this in a quick fashion, which is surprising. I thought this would take a little bit longer.
Halloween party.
I know I probably threw a lot of information at you guys. I will have this up on YouTube later today. Probably it's going to be on the channel The Unholy Ghoster, which is actually my own channel. If you guys want to rewatch it, go over some points. Any last comments or ideas or things you could suggest to people to do?
Yeah, well, I mean, just get out there and get recording. You don't necessarily have to set up a big fancy YouTube live stream or anything like that. It just kind of starts with, it just started out really easy with me. I would take, screenshots. When I'm on my computer, I can hold down the Windows key and the print screen, and then that actually saves a folder on my computer that takes, that's where all the selfies go, or not selfies, but screenshots, right? And then obviously selfies and stuff like that too. But just start with the screenshot, and then you just start recording your screen and editing those files and stuff like that, and then just start doing it. Get your as soon as you get your YouTube channel, you can do stuff like Ghoster and have live streams, which is extra fun. But just start small. Just make a recording, upload it to YouTube, and there you go. You're a streamer. Hearts.
Hearts.
Right on, Smitty. That was good.
Like you said, you got to start somewhere,
running.
and the best way to start, I think, is a good idea. Is start taking screenshots, see what the best, where it looks the best, and for all those females who love their Instagram and Snapchat, who just take hundreds of pictures, oh yeah, that's the best picture. Oh, 60 pictures later.
What about middle-aged guys?
Yeah, those two. I'm making a stereotype here. Thank you very much.
I got to the gym, man. Muscles. Look at this muscles on this chassis.
But it goes from taking pictures to then moving up to videos, and then
invisible
moving
when
from
they're there.
videos to recording and then posting them online for everybody to see. And then the final step here is working on recordings or working on live streams. Getting it live and in person. That try to bring in the viewers you need, the viewers you want. Not necessarily get big, but do it for fun. You don't want to think about this as work, because then it's you're not gonna like it, and you're gonna resent every single moment of it. It's like my life. I mean,
I got one thing I could add. I talked about it already, and that don't be afraid to reach out to people that are in the genre you want to be in. If it's desktop, if it's VR, reach out to me if you're interested in VR. I'm happy to help anybody get started. So.
And
just do it.
Even here in Altspace, we're setting up the Hive network, basically, where we can, if we got active members in the community who want to do a show but they don't know how, they can come to the Hive network, and we'll basically set them up with we'll do recordings for them, we'll help them run their show, we'll help them get started and start getting their own feet underneath them, and then they can leave at any time. They don't have to be here with the Hive network. I mean, they can stay affiliated, but we're doing this for fun. It's all it's not for us, it's for you guys. We want you guys enjoy the content that's produced here in Altspace and in other apps such as like Facebook Spaces, VR Chat, any other VR social applications, like Tabletop Simulator. Most of the time, and especially with the Hive network, it's not about us. It's about giving content to you guys, laugh at, make fun of Vivian screaming at, horror games because she's so terrified. Nobody. Okay.
Season ain't no joke, man.
It's VR serious.
That was bad.
Oh.
I don't think you're allowed to be on the show anymore. That was that horrible.
That's VR serious.
Yeah, no, definitely not letting you back on the show with that one. Well, at least that Gamer Dad's coming back. When did I have you next? Next show when we're talking about recording and
Next
streaming.
show.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
next show will be more into the recording and streaming piece.
So the next show that I'll be doing is gonna be next Friday as well. That one is gonna be at 8:30ish. Going for about an hour, hopefully this time, and we'll be talking about basically different softwares and different hosting sites for streaming and recording videos anywhere, basically. So sites like YouTube, Twitch. I know there's a ton more. Facebook. Basically,
Mixer,
sure.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Hey, quick question. Quick question.
Sure. What's
is
up?
that 8:30 Eastern, Central, Pacific?
That is 8:30 Eastern. I mean, if you take, it should be up maybe sometime soon. Schmidt-Tech, I've sent you this. I've already got all the shows set up. I just need to add their URLs. But it will be a featured event, and you'll be able to see it online here in AltSpace as a featured event, and it will tell you your time. Basically,
Okay.
right now, next week, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we
Same
have any
VR
more?
bat time? Same
So-
VR bat channel.
All right. Da-da-na-na-na.
Does anybody else have any questions? Anything related to camera work? Looking, right at the proper angles and stuff like that. Anybody questions?
Yeah, who's got a question? Come on, you got to have a question. Hey, how do you record my screen, right? Well, good question. Well, I use Open Broadcaster software, which is called OBS, and it's absolutely free software, and you just load it up and start capturing your screen. You can add cool stuff to it, right, Ghoster? You can add your little
Yep.
logo on the corner, or make little things to feed between if you have more than one camera, you can do dissolves between them and stuff and make it look pretty pro. So I know we're saving the software for another show, but OBS,
Yeah, I use OBS as well.
FTW.
Get the hype going. Get the hype going.
Yeah, go support OBS.
OBS.
Hype train. All aboard.
Actually, wait, no. I think the first thing is we need to go support AltSpace, right? Go to more events. Go more emojis. Simple stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Be online more often. Don't let real life get in the way. You need more AltSpace.
No,
Something
no,
like that.
This is real life.
Hey, I got a question, Gabe. Sorry to bother you.
Sure, go
Hey,
ahead.
Gabe, like you said, more emojis. Can we get more of those? Because I mean, we only have so many, like poopy emojis or whatever and stuff like that.
You want more
Important ones,
emojis
yeah.
like
We want more emojis.
like thumbs up,
Like
stuff
more,
like that.
like thumbs up, like peace out, stuff like that. Like if you want, like that little poopy emoji.
There's a
stuff
guy
like that.
right here.
That'd be nice.
See this guy right here? He's pretty special.
I don't know this guy. I don't know this guy.
Influence.
This guy
He's
is pretty
influence.
special. If you ask him and you talk to this guy right here, I'm pretty sure
him
you
up.
might be
Here,
able to get that
here,
fast
how about
track.
this? How about this emoji?
More
Is this a good? Is this an emoji?
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
emojis.
Yeah.
More emojis.
I'm
More
getting sick to my
emojis.
stomach.
I have a question.
I'm
Because
not
too
getting
much
sick to my
love.
stomach.
Too
Yeah,
much love, right?
exactly.
Is that what? You're getting sick of this love?
Yeah, too much of this stuff. Yeah, it's
Too,
just
in case if I
wow.
want to review this later.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry,
did you actually
what'd
do
you
this?
say?
Love is a drug.
What is your YouTube channel? And if you are going to send it
YouTube
to a
channel is
so I
called-
can view this later.
The Unholy Ghoster. So the
Unholy
space
Ghoster.
Unholy
appropriate for
space
Halloween
Ghoster. Yeah.
What do you say?
Unholy
It
Ghoster.
should be this should be
It's
live on
very
there
hard
as
to
well.
do.
The spooky streamer.
Yes.
Let's see here. Filters, channel.
I don't have
Let's
many
see
views. It should be
here.
public. Stuff like that. Cool stuff. Stop playing with my camera. Meow.
Oh,
I'm always
And then
looking
you said something about like
For the film.
Endgame VR. What's that? Is that like a video game or something?
So Endgame VR is actually
What's the film in
a
that?
It's another talk show. It's done in VR
We need a dark
chat.
room in here.
It's about
You want a dark room for do some developing?
psychological,
Developing.
philosophical. I'm looking for the word philosophical stuff. So
We'll go old school.
transhumanism.
Old school, yeah. Yeah, let's get those chemicals.
The rules of VR, the mind's eye. There's a bunch of different episodes. Robots taking over AI. Meet the
Sounds
communities.
interesting.
Yeah, it's a really cool discussion show, and there's a lot
That just made me think
of.
of a question.
Sure, what's up?
So, as you know,
Dave?
VR is advancing pretty
Dave?
rapidly, and
Claire?
I heard about the technological singularity that's supposed to happen in 2040.
This is
So,
cool.
What on the VR
have you heard
chat?
about that at all? What do you think?
was
We
an
actually,
AI
I believe
on
we
there.
actually took a show all about singularities and stuff like that. Of the massive super intelligence that might be coming with AI and different stuff like that.
Right.
If you want, like I said, take a look on YouTube. They have, I think, 25, 30 episodes of, shows that we've done. And they're generally about a week behind. So he'll release the
How long will
episode.
you guys up?
YouTube, it's called the Endgame VR.
The Martian. The friendly Martian.
In-game VR. Okay. I'll give you guys
Right.
a
I found both of you guys subscribed and.
Well, you don't have to subscribe to the Annoying Ghost, right? That's just kind of my junk channel where I throw a bunch of stuff and I might, put something interesting once in a while.
If you subscribe to me, I give away stuff like every month. So you can get entered
What's
in
your
giveaway.
channel, buddy?
Sad Gamer Dad.
So tell us, Sad Gamer Dan, how can we reach you online?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
plugs.
SadGamerDad.com, YouTube's.com/SadGamerDad, SadGamerDad, Twitter, SadGamerDad, Facebook,
There's us.
Instagram.
Oh,
And you
you're
can
not...
Pinterest.
find me on Twitter at
Oh my
SchmidtTech.
God, I'm on the TV.
Found you. There we go.
Everywhere.
So, why don't we just go ahead and go nuts with this? I'm going to put the
Hello.
camera back here, and we'll just get the infinite mirror effect if anybody wants to jump in front of the stage.
Hello there. Hello. Hello.
So as you see, it's recording basically the
geez.
screen, and then the longer it
This is
goes,
so
the longer,
trippy.
Infinite loop.
Why don't we take an infinite loop selfie
outside.
emoji shot?
There we go.
Oh yeah.
It slowly goes back, one frame at a time.
Catch the hearts.
Row,
catch
row,
them, catch
row
them.
your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily,
keep going
life is
to the-
but a
Let it
dream.
free.
Row, row, row your boat
To
gently
row
down
your
the
boat
stream.
gently down the
Merrily, merrily,
stream.
merrily,
Merrily,
merrily, life is
merrily,
but a
merrily,
dream.
merrily.
Row,
Row,
Down the
row,
stream.
row your boat
I'm
gently
Row,
down
row
the
your boat
stream.
gently down the
Merrily,
stream.
merrily, merrily, life is
Merrily,
but a
merrily,
dream.
merrily, gently down the stream. What was that?
Felt it.
I love
That
it.
was Harvard and
VR second.
We are the world. We are the children.
Oh, that's cool.
We are the
Also, I-
ones that make a brighter
I didn't mean
day.
that. I
So
didn't mean
let's
that. I didn't mean
stop
that.
giving.
Oh, that's vomit inducing.
We're on camera. We're on camera.
Yeah.
We're on camera together.
We-
Eyes up. Startled me a little bit.
row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Where's the
Merrily,
party?
merrily,
Can I get my
merrily,
hat
merrily, life's just a dream.
It's not digital. That's a lot of interactivity.
Oh, this is fun.
Me too.
Wow, this is fun. This is cool. Well, we get to look at ourselves on
There you are.
on there.
Yeah, make sure you guys turn around and actually look at the camera so that when it pops up in the later screens, you can, see yourself looking at you.
Oh, sorry.
Wait,
I'm
I
up
can
here.
also go and look at your live stream.
Oh, hello, hello, hello.
I'm watching your live stream right now.
Oh, wow.
Hello,
Hello, hello.
This is so weird. My brain cannot comprehend what is happening.
Sorry for the interruption, but you are now watching
Random
Oh, I got a
madness.
word on camera.
Reality.
Why not?
Please come back.
No, this is cool.
Your turn. Your turn. Your turn.
I need to sit. I need to get away from people, man. I am lagging.
Wow.
Well, it's also because of the
Lagging.
stream.
That's cool.
Okay.
It's the rate I'm pushing
There.
the stream.
That was two.
It will also affect your performance. So.
This is
Hey,
cool.
who's this good-looking guy
Let's
in front of me?
break the stream. Break
Alright,
the
so
stream.
you're gonna go ahead and shut that down.
Shut her down, Ghoster.
You heading off?
Just had a
We're
bit
all
of
here.
a bit of a laugh.
You heading off, Gabe?
It's like,
Well, first I gotta shut down the stream.
pretty good.
Can't, just leave the stream running.